Well, hello there, my Virgo brothers and sisters in the Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury signs. Welcome to your Samhain and Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio reading for November 2019. How you doing? I hope you're hanging in there. I hope you're doing well. Time of death and transformation as it is, with Mercury, our ruling planet, going backwards. Well, it doesn't really go backwards. Virgos usually know that. It's like, it's an optical illusion. But, you know, planets, what are you going to do? Collective consciousness. Oh, but Mercury retrograde can be incredibly powerful in terms of looking at things. And you put that in Scorpio, right? Looking at all the hidden secrets and mysteries in your life. And what do we like more than a good mystery, right? Give us some clues. I am your reader for today. If you're new to the channel, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short. All my friends call me Mal, except for a handful who call me Mark. Only my mother gets to call me Marky. That's like sudden death. Somebody calls me Marky unless it's M-A-R-Q-U-I-S. The Marquis. The Marquise. President of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and really ready to do this read. The decks have already been blessed. Oh, to my subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you are new, please do like and subscribe. Getting my numbers up to 1,000 so that I can do super live chat, because I would be a lot of fun in super live chat. You know, I have this Facebook group, a closed Facebook group, Words of Grace by Mark Angelo Lyons. Words of Grace is my second ebook. So I created a Facebook about it. The links for that are all in the description box below. And that's, you know, I do these things called grace streams. You can see some of them. I have some of them incomplete in my, you know, the whole thing. But I just did one for Samhain, right? Like quickie spot readings for that. And that is sort of like super live chat. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of back and forth. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Because give me work, right? I got to work. Which work. So here's the thing. This reading, that's why I put trigger warning right first thing in the description box. Trigger warning that this time of year is all about death, right? Death and transformation, right? At least in like the northern hemisphere. Samhain tide. It's the final harvest, right? So it's a time to reap those final rewards, lessons, wisdoms that we have sown throughout the year, to let things go, to let things die, to let things go to ashes, our ego structures, our belief systems, all of that included, so that we can rise from those ashes like the phoenix, Red Hawk. You really add that with Mercury retrograde, and we're ruled by Mercury, so it's just like Klusterfug, right? But with enough clarity, with enough wisdom, with enough guidance, and with enough grace, we always can emerge healthier, more integral, more authentic, right? But that's really up to us, because I think that happens anyway, but we often don't catch it until it's in the rearview mirror. We go, oh, that horrible situation was the best thing in the world for the development of my soul. And isn't that really the fifth dimensional unity consciousness truth, that everything that comes into our life, arises within us, is to help us. Everything is here to help us grow on a soul level. We are souls, immortal, eternal, genderless souls that have been chosen to play the roles of the bodies that we're in. So the soul of Mal, right, really not my true name, went to the audition to play the role, got the part, was chosen, incarnated in September 6, 1968, yeah, I'm 51. And has been playing, the soul has been playing the role. And so soul realization, right? It's like, oh my God, right? Like past lives. It's like, I haven't just been Mark Angelo Lyons. I've had more lives than some people have underwear. I think a lot of us have. So that being said, let's dive in. Please remember to breathe, right? Breath is the perfect example of the eternal within us, always waxing and waning. Every time you breathe in, whether you're aware of it or not, you're breathing in everything you need. Every time you exhale, you're breathing out everything you don't need, as well as being a blessing. So your breath is your blessing to yourself on the inhale and to all of life on the exhale, but to be aware of that is just very helpful, as you also love what rises. Embracing the shadow, which is what these readings are about too, like what's the unfinished business? What are the lies and deceptions within yourself, or the lies and deceptions that you've done to others or have had done to you, that all of that stuff needs to be transformed, brought into the light, exposed, dragged, rip her wig off, right? So, so let's do it. I always bless the decks before I hit record. I ask my collective pantheons of angels, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved, fifth dimension and above higher selves, to be present, to bless the decks, so that these are truly helpful for whoever is watching them, but these are general reads. So if it doesn't click, right, if it doesn't make sense to you, if it doesn't hit you intuitively, just, it's like it's somebody else's reading. It's not a big deal. Go check one of your other signs. Usually within the first 10-15 minutes, you know whether a read is for you or not. So that's why I try and always do at least Sun, Moon, Rising, or Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus if I'm doing relationship stuff. But this is about Samhain Mercury Retrograde. What's going on for you, right? Self-care. This is all about self-care. So let's dive in. Take a deep breath. My collective pantheon of angels, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, one Caroline Mesa archetype card for the Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury signs for this Samhain season and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio for November 2019. Please, what is the dominant archetype for the Virgo collective? The lead that they are to alchemize into gold, the shadow that they are to bring into light. And who do we got? The scribe, right? The scribe, all about information, writing down details. Every archetype, if you are new to my channel or these cards, has a light and a shadow, right? So it's got a light attribute and a shadow attribute. I'm going to read this for you now because this is like the dominant energy, the main energy. Everything else will be based on this in the reading. So usually I read the light and then the shadow, but because this is about shadow work, embracing the shadow, emotional, whatever, dumping, transforming emotional baggage, we're going to start with the shadow attribute. Altering facts or plagiarizing others' work. Oh, shit. Altering facts. So, you know, whether it's written or not, when you think of the scribe, you think of somebody writing, like with a pen. But also you think about social media. You think about, you know, not just bills and paperwork and stuff like that, but like what have you collected in terms of words? Words are incredibly powerful. Words are perfect, like spell work, prayer, right? And it's not that the universe is waiting for you to say the right combination of words necessarily, but if you are under an illusion or a deception and your words are in alignment, horrible word for it, in alignment with that illusion and deception, then you just keep creating more and more and more of it, particularly when it's a lie you're telling to yourself, or, you know, look, it's the information. So this doesn't have to be physically written down. It can be written, right, on those tapes in your head. Or I guess I should say the MP3s in your head now, right? So let's look at the light attribute, because you can kind of get that shadow, like falsifying facts, right? Fake news, hate to say it, but right? You take the news, you twist it. You take the information that's coming in to twist it. And that's what the ego, the shadow self, can do, often does, has the worst possible interpretation. So the shadow does that. And the shadow is immensely powerful, but it's not evil. It's the ego, right? The toxic ego, the shadow self, all that stuff. It is nothing more than the higher self that has forgotten itself. So it can appear demonic, but what's a demon but an angel that has forgotten who it is? It's forgotten its source. So to love what rises in that way, right? To say it's okay, I love you. It's like the inner child work on a fifth dimensional level and above. So the light attribute, preserving knowledge and information. So there's knowledge and information that you have gathered. Perhaps you might want to start journaling, writing things down. Vlogging, right? That's sort of like the new journal, and you know, you don't have to share it with the world, but you know, most people do. So keep this in mind. The scribe, there is something very Virgo in terms of taking care of detail, maybe looking at the details of what was done, what happened in your life. That's all happening to help you, right? Everything is here to help us. I know it sucks. By the way, you don't have to like it. You don't have to be all Pollyanna about that shit either. You can just be like, okay, I get on some level, this may very well be helping me, but this fucking sucks and I hate it. So would it be, right? But at least that exception, you'd be like, okay, somehow, and it's often in the rearview mirror. We see that. So in terms of the detail, right? We're detail oriented. really look at if you have done harm to yourself, to another, to your life, because that's just an indication of what your shadow and your pain, that's calling out to be loved. It wants to be loved, acknowledged within you. So as the shadow, as you look, you may feel guilt, you may feel shame, you may feel self-recrimination, self-loathing. That's okay, because the situations have organized themselves so that you will face that within yourself. So really what a trigger is, that's why I put trigger warning on it. It's sort of like having a hidden landmine buried within yourself. And someone else doesn't know it's there. You probably don't know it's there. Sometimes you do know what your triggers are, but someone steps on it and then you blame them. It's like, no, okay, that toxicity, that pain, that suffering was already inside of me. That shadow was already, right, a mile high and 10 feet thick. Then okay, then I get it. And in retrospect, you can gain some wisdom for that. But with the scribe, you want to take note, right? You want to preserve the knowledge and the information that you have gained along the way. And the scribe is the wisdom family of archetypes. So big opportunity to alchemize shadow into light, experience into wisdom, right? Leaded experience, toxic experience, alchemize it into golden wisdom, something that can never be taken from you. Now, we're doing something a little bit different this time. If you're new to my channel, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But to my regular subscribers and followers and watchers, we usually take this Chuck Spezzano love pack. By the way, all the decks that I'm reading are in the description box below at the bottom. I have divided the deck into different suits. This is the problem suit, okay? Problem. There's the card of using, right? Somebody using somebody. These are what I call the womp 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 womp, right? Totally Debbie Downer womp womp cards, but so essential to know what's the problem, right? What is the situation that I'm in, and to get clarity on that. And then the other half of the deck is the luck, the healing, and the grace suit. So literally we're looking at shadow and light, right? So you want to alchemize the lead into gold, the shadow into light. And what I've been seeing in these readings, that these give an indication of what the toxicity is. These give an indication of how to balance it, heal it, etc. So let's do this. Let's get one. My masters, my ascended masters, you who have graduated Earth School and are reaching back throughout the dimensional spiral to help those still in the game so that we can win the game, so that we can be the best that we can be, right? So we become masters ourselves, masters of love, masters of life. Please, one card in clarity for this Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury signs for this Samhain and Mercury retrograde, November 2019. What is the problem? What is the shadow connected to this Virgo scribe archetype? Ooh, revenge. Dish best served cold. And I just love this card because look, there's like this happy couple walking below, and that bitch on top of the cliff is like, I'm gonna get them stoned. Wham! Just drop it right on them. So revenge, totally natural. When you have been burnt, when you have been abused, when you have been neglected, when you have been wounded. But remember, whoever is abusing, neglecting, wounding you is just trying to help you bring up that stuff in your cell tissue, right? That stuff in the emotional baggage compartment, so that it can come up so you can love what rises. And that this is, people are like, oh, twin flames and soulmates. Well, twin flames in particular are sort of contracted to do exactly that. And they never fucking know what they're doing, right? They never know that they're doing it because they're being operated by their pain. Their wounds are in control. Their wounds are running the show. So for that revenge, now look, I'm a witch. I have more stuff in my upstairs office that I could take vengeance with. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I want to be a blessing upon this world. So yes, it's hard to bless those people who have hurt you. That it's so much the ego, and rightly so, to want to take revenge, because it believes the illusion of separation. It believes that do unto others as they have done unto you. But we know that doesn't heal. We know that is toxic. And really, that's the whole point. Anything, like, I just let go of a covert narcissist. He was such a genius at it that I had no idea what was going on. Different than an overt narcissist, right, where it's easy to pick an overt narcissist out of the crowd, but a covert narcissist, different than a passive narcissist. Those are the empathic people who people please to get people to change how they feel so that they feel better empathing, totally manipulative. But, you know, the covert narcissist, the overt narcissist, it's all about a lack of self-worth, right? So I had no idea what was going on. Did I want to take revenge? Certainly I did. But knowing what I know about the divine plan, which isn't a whole hell of a lot, nobody knows a whole hell of a lot about the divine plan, I really had to refocus, speak my truth in a way that may have been destructive to the relationship in terms of ending it. I ended it. I shut the door and fucking welded that bitch shut. But with love, right? Wishing them that they heal, that you know, what you're doing has nothing to do with me. And that was a revelation. I was like, oh my God, there's such a thing as a covert narcissist. They're sneaky as fuck. But 9 times out of 10, they have no idea what they're doing, right? They're just being run by their wounds. It's like that toxic, wounded child is running the show. And usually there's some trauma in their childhood that goes unresolved, right? Talk about emotional baggage and shadow. The shadow is huge, so they're wearing a mask. They're terrified to be vulnerable because when they were vulnerable, they got hurt. And that's part of the divine plan too, right? Sucks, but it's part of the divine plan. It makes us grow. There is no alchemy without lead. Right. So now we're going to look at the gold here. Just want really, I really asked the guys, it's like, I'm a teacher first and foremost. I was a public speaker for decades before I started doing this. I still am. I'll still gig every now and again. But you know, it is my thing as a Virgo to pass on what I have learned verbally, right? That's my thing. So let's ask now the masters for some help with that revenge, because that voice of revenge inside of us is in the collective, and as we begin to love it and heal it within ourselves, it dissipates and heals for all humanity. So here we go with all of that exposition. Please, my masters, one card in clarity for this Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury signs for this Samhain season and Mercury retrograde for November 2019. What is the luck, the grace, or the healing that we Virgos can focus on with this scribe archetype, the detail, the knowledge that we have been gathering in terms of revenge? What's going on here? Fuck the lovers. Okay, so this has just become romantically oriented. So look, you gotta return to love. Yes, I know it's a Marianne Williamson book. It's her first book. I read it in hardcover. I know she's still running for president, bless her heart. But you know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to return to love. You know, that book is all about A Course in Miracles, right? It's her take on A Course in Miracles. It was my introduction to the Course in Miracles. Many people call it Course in Miracles Light. And if the book was called The Course of Forgiveness, nobody would read it, but that's what the miracle is. It's about forgiveness, but not the toxic forgiveness that most of us are raised with, but which is based on the Newtonian model of physics. Quantum forgiveness, true forgiveness, is an aspect of true love. It's really absolution, saying that we are souls. All of this is scripted, right? All of this has been written. We knew the script before we came in. We read the lines. We incarnated. We forgot that we were acting. A good actor, we consider actors brilliant actors when they forget they're acting, right? They totally embody the character. But now we're in this process of spiritual awakening. So with the Lover's card, now this is not the Lover's card like in the tarot, but we will see if it pops up in the tarot spread, which we'll be doing next. This is really then looking at a romantic, intimate relationship with revenge. So, you know, maybe somebody is acting out of revenge. Oh yes, but my masters just reminded me, there's a type of revenge that is also, oh, sorry, wrong card, type of revenge that is very covert. It's like, see what you did to me, now watch what I do to myself. This is all your fault. Passive as fuck, right? Covert as fuck. So so you gotta love what rises. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing you gotta do. Whatever you think this other person has done to you, and whatever you think they should do, like if you had them, I don't know, tied to a chair, gagged and bound, and said, you know what you need to do? You need to do A, B, C, and D. Well, then what you do is you do A, B, C, and D. Right? It's like I said to this, interestingly enough, a Virgo covert narcissist. I really had no idea. I said, well, I really hope you heal this, right? So then what did I do? Once I slammed that door, welded that bitch shut, I went deeper into my own healing process, loving what was rising, the child in me that felt lied to, deceived, abandoned, abused. It was abusive, but subtly, right? More through neglect. So to be able to love that child, a lot of tears, and absolutely revenge came up in me. So, you know, I accept that when I do these readings, right, I'm a Virgo Sun, Pisces Moon, Libra Mercury, Libra and Venus and Mercury, and what did I forget? Leo rising, that I accept. Like, I am going to see myself in these. I was trying to avoid it. I was like not catching it until I did the edits, because I always edit my videos. I will pop up a picture of the spread once these are done at the end of the video, so you can see the pattern laid out. But it's just rough. This is a rough time of year, and a lot of people do off themselves. They want to exit the game because it's sort of like the death card. It is the death card, going to ashes so that we can rise again, right? So to trust that process, to allow that revengeful feeling to come up, because honey, the witch in me, it was a female energy in me that wanted him not dead, devastated and destroyed. That what was that voice? May what you did to me be done to you. That voice needed to be heard, but not a spell was cast. I eventually got to a place of blessing this person, not from a victim place, but it's like, all right, you're only doing that to show me that you need love, but it's just not going to be face to face ever again. And you know what? He never gets to kiss me again. I will kiss again. I'm a really good kisser. In high school, I was on the French team, lettered and everything. All right, so let's do this. Let's ask the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. My gods, Lord Dionysus, my patron god of Virgo, please, 5 cards, the element spread, fire, earth, air, water, spirit, for this Virgo collective sun, moon, rising, Mercury sign, for this Samhain tide. There you are, my love. For this Samhain tide and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio for November 2019. Fire. What does this Virgo collective sign want? Earth. What do they have, like the wick that feeds the flame of the candle to help them get what they want? Air. What are they thinking? Because fire needs air to exist. Water. What are they feeling? That needs to be balanced with the fire so the water does not evaporate or the water snuff the flame. And then spirit. What is the overall energy, the overview? So please, Dionysus, who sits solo in the throne of Virgo for me, please, top 5 cards. Element spread. Maiden. Oh, you want that one in there? Mother. Crone. All right, so that the bottom of the cut wanted to jump so that it would be the top card. Let's have a look. All right, my Virgos, what do we want? We want emotional nurturing, the Cancerian card. We want the healing of our emotions. We want to let go of that emotional baggage. Cardinal water, the Cancerian sign. We need to mother ourselves. We want to mother ourselves. We want to be loved and nurtured. Why? Because we're doing all the loving and the nurturing 90% of the time, right? So we have to somehow find a way to give that to ourselves. And people say, I love yourself. You got to love yourself, because you don't love yourself. How the hell are you going to love anybody else? Thank you, Saint RuPaul. But then they never tell you how, right? That's the path of true love for you, right? You're gonna learn how to love yourself this life, next life, 100 lives from now, but sooner or later you're gonna find out you are love, right? So there's, what do we want? We want some emotional healing, and also with those dolphins there, we want to have fun. Flipper, 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 faster than light, right? We want to experience the joy. We want to have that buoyant, yes. It's not mutable water like Pisces. It's Cancerian. It's creative water. It's gestative. It's like amniotic fluid, right? So we want the mother energy. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. My mother, I affectionately call her Hera because she's a queen archetype. Cancer, crabbies, you know, shells, claws, right? This can be done within, but it is moody, right? Mood swingy. So just sort of bring that into balance with Cancer. Now, can this represent a Cancerian person in your life? Absolutely. That's going to be some of you in the collective. sun, moon, rising, whatever. But we are going to lay the angel cards on top of these once these 5 are out to help clarify that. Cool, cool. So that's the fire. So you got water, we got water and fire. What's the earth? What is the fuel, like the log in the fireplace, right? What's going on there? Fuck. The 2 of Cups, right? So there is a strong attraction that's going on in our life. We have this 2 of Cups, but the thing about the 2 of Cups that people don't realize, and I hear this on YouTube a lot, I'm like, it's only a 2. It's an attraction. You may not know what's really going on in the other person. You don't know each other yet, right? But it's a sign of a contract, what I call animation. Anybody that you have a strong attraction or repulsion to, there is a contract there. Now, that doesn't mean you have to work with them. That doesn't mean you have to talk to them. But to say, okay, I have no idea what this is, but somehow this is here to help me. So the thing I love about this card for the 2 of Cups, the whirlpool, it's 2 cups in a whirlpool, staying as far away as possible, but getting closer and closer and closer, because love, the divine, is bringing them closer together as part of the divine plan. Call it fate, but we're all given fate. But do we alchemize that into destiny, right? Do we take the hero's journey? So I've got 2 water cards down here. So, you know, people think, oh, well, earth signs, but, you know, we're feminine. There are 2 feminine elements, 2 masculine elements. Earth and water are feminine, fire and air are masculine. So we are dealing with more yin stuff going on here, more emotional, more internal. But let's keep it in perspective. This is only a 2, right? So something has to be dealt with here in order to get what you want, that you can use this relationship to love what rises, to nurture within you, and not just the scary shadow toxic stuff, but when you're feeling joy, to even be like, good for you, I love you, I'm so glad you're joyful, I'm so glad you're happy, but let's keep it straight. They're not making you happy. You are experiencing this to help balance some of the heaviness, the shadow. But let's keep going. I can see that's the thing about being clairvoyant and empathic. It just goes on and on and on. There's no end to interpretation that way. So what are we thinking? What are we thinking here? We are thinking we're at the end of a cycle. the world card, Shakti, the life dancer, the old being destroyed. Not like the death card, but the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one between one world and the next. And may that be true, right? Perfect for Samhain. You really couldn't ask better card, but at least, well, not just that's what we're thinking, but that's what's going on in the mind. It's like I said, you know, I can't help not see myself in this. Slam that door on that narcissist. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, don't want to see ya, right? Gotta go, yeah. Move on, move on, move on. The completion of a cycle. For, you know, whether it feels good or it doesn't, it's done. It's done. Stick a fork in it. It's done. What are you feeling about all of this? Just walk away. Just walk away. I can't believe I just did that. I get audio all day long. 8 of Cups, right? Not just walking away, walking into the self, right? This is not about, fuck you, I'm out of here. It's about whatever it is that you did, somehow this shit's serving me, it's helping me, well, then I'm going to go in and do my work. Thank you very much. But at least, right, it's like at least you think it's at the end of a cycle. So perfect. And 3 water cards out of 4. Let's get that spirit card down. What's going on? What's the overview here? The Aries card. Right, the Aries card. Now, is this, oh, it's all about an Aries. No, this is the first house, the self. This is all about the self, you healing you. Now, interestingly enough, not the Hermit card in this deck called the Wise One. No, this is about you taking care of you, you healing you, not in a narcissistic way. See, here's the thing about narcissists. They have an inflated sense of entitlement. Entitlement's one of the deadly sins, solar plexus. They usually have intense stomach issues going on, covert or overt. But they also have no empathy. So that's not this. This, with all this water going on, this is not about being narcissistic. This is about loving the self, healing the self, walking your path, fulfilling your role. You know, I read in the Course in Miracles, while I was going through all this shit, I was drawn to pick up Course in Miracles, and I opened it to a page, and it said, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, that God doesn't, you don't need to have the other person heal. the divine plan just needs you to heal. You heal you, because we are holographic, because we are all one. So when you love what rises and heals within yourself, embracing the shadow, right, spiritual alchemy, whatever you want to call that, internal healing, psychological healing, as you heal that within yourself, because of the holographic nature of this world, yes, maybe 2% of what you're healing is you, but the other 98% is from your ancestry, right? Ancestral lineage things that you inherited, like DNA, from your upline, your genetic upline, as well as what's going around in the people around you, sometimes in a 100-mile radius, all coming up through you. Why? Because you're on the spiritual path. You agreed to do this. You came in to transform this world from your own inside out. Got it? Let's clarify these with some Healing with the Angels Oracle cards from Doreen Virtue. I've had these forever. As I've had this Daughters of the Moon, I've been reading these two decks probably the longest, well, way longest than anything else on the table. So let's look here, please, my angels. Yeah, I'm just going to pull these directly. I'm not top 5 carding, because this feels a lot easier. So please, my angels, one carding clarity for this Mother of Cups Cancerian card that the Virgos want. Please clarify. Study. You want to get in there, Virgo scribe that you are, and get the detail. Preserve the information, right? You want to study the emotional part of this. You want to understand what your triggers are, and that under the triggers are bombs and landmines of pain, of toxicity, so that you can love, so that you can be more, here's the word they're giving me, fluid in your emotions, right? So that you can heal, so that you can love yourself, so that you can give yourself the love that only you can give you. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Interesting song that it was for the the era in which it was created, is the name of the game, right? It's the name of the game. Looking for love in all the wrong places until you get, oh my God, only I had, is it fucking the ruby red slippers? Fuck those ruby red slippers. All of that over shoes, really. This is the love that only I could give myself, and there's no place like the home of my heart, right? The home, oh my God, there's no place like home. 4th house, the home. I'm not always down with an Oz reference. Linda was such a bitch. Fuck her. If Linda was a real witch, she would have said, bitch, click and go 3 times. See ya. Bye, Dorothy. Oh, can we make that a thing? Bye, Dorothy. Except the Golden Girls people will be in uproar. Drag him, expose him, rip his wig off and burn it. All right, now here's the card we really need to clarify, but I really don't want to, but I'm going to. So please, because that's my job. I agreed to do this, right? My angels, please, one card in clarity for this 2 of Cups here and what we have. Well, this is what we have to heal. We can use the relationship, the wounds, the joy, the pain, the suffering, the ecstasy, the bliss, the amazing sex. And by the way, the sex was amazing, so he never gets to have sex with me again. Revenge! Yeah, I am a witch to my blood, to my bones, to my boots. So please, my angels are like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is authentic. It may not be the absolute truth of who I am, but it's who I am right now, right? So let it be. So please, my angels, one card in clarity for this 2 of Cups, for this Virgo. What is it that we have? This one. Oh, ideas and inspiration. Perfect for the scribe archetype, if you think about it, right? Because the ideas and the inspirations that have come from this 2 of Cups relationship, that's what you have. Like, what have you learned? What have you learned? Considering we've got study here with this Cancerian card, then it would make sense with this 2 of Cups that there are ideas and inspiration. Perhaps this this other person has inspired you to heal, which can often be like, well, fuck you, watch what I do now. I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to heal myself so much that you're going to feel so fucking sorry. Now, if that's what gets you through the night, through the week, through the year, however long it takes, fine. Embrace that voice, but then actually do the healing, right? I'll show you. That vengefulness with the Lovers and that 2 of Cups, right? You can really transform yourself into the truth of who you are. And then you can look back and say, well, if they weren't such a fucking narcissist, if they weren't such an asshole, I wouldn't be this magnificent self that I have become. And they're giving me the image of Michelangelo, the artist, and the statue of the David. When they asked Michelangelo how he sculpted the David, he said, I didn't. God made the David in the marble. I just chipped away the excess marble. Reveal the truth, right? The self-work. Got to chip away. Chip away, chip away, chip away. And if we don't chip away, chip away, chip away, the gods send TNT into our life to blow shit up. And that's the best thing that can happen. I know, I've been through it enough. Sucks while it's going on. Remember, you don't have to like the divine plan, but you're gonna either be a victim to it or you're gonna go along and be a participant, because the divine plan needs your participation, right? So what are you thinking here with this universe, Shakti, the life dancer, closing of the cycle? Please, what's going on here in the mental field for Virgo, my angels? Spiritual growth. Be thrilled. Be thrilled that you have ended a cycle of spiritual growth, which, considering we've got study ideas and inspiration here, this is done. You learn what you needed to learn on this one. And if you haven't learned yet, remember, this is, I'm saying it in present tense, but this is for the entire Samhain season and Mercury retrograde. So how perfect for Mercury retrograde, right? To be able to rethink and look at and really study the emotions that you're going through, your intuition, your guidance, your grace, your soul in this relationship. I'm doing a lot of the recap, which I will save for the end, but this is all clicking together, at least for me, not to be narcissistic, but I'm seeing myself in the water. I'm seeing myself in the reflection, which is what divination is about anyway, and considering the quantum, not shocked, right? All right, so now let's have a look-see-duck-see at this withdrawal, the Eight of Cups, the walking away, but actually withdrawing into the self. That's why it's called withdrawal, not walk the fuck away. Withdrawal into the self. So please, my angels, 1 cards of clarity for this Virgo collective with the emotion. For balance. For balance. So if you were giving more than you got back, which is pretty much the narcissistic situation anyway, right? You give, you give, you give, you give. What do they give back? Oh, guts, right? Then this is about going in to bring yourself into emotional balance, to heal what needs to be healed in you. And by the way, if you're the one who's being toxic, if you're the one who's being narcissistic, if you're the one who has been the villain in the scenario, so to speak, this is for you too. Cross-watcher, if you're cross-watching, or if it's the Virgo collective sign here. This is an opportunity for you that you have everything in your mind about your own spiritual growth here to do, but you do need to study your emotions, because really 3 out of 5 cards emotion. So let's get the overview now. The card of spirit, about the self, that this is all your own doing, it's all happening for you. But that initiatory Aries, you must take the first step, right? You have to take the first step, right? Because the cycle has ended. Now what are you going to do? There may be nothing left to do but the crying, right? To love that sadness, that sorrow, that hurt, that ultimately had nothing to do with the other person. They came in to serve, right? Isn't that word for us, Virgo? To serve as the one who pulled the trigger to bring up that stuff within you. So let's ask the angels. Angels, please, 1 card of clarity for this Virgo collective with that Aries card in overview. Please clarify. 1, 2, 3. Celebration. To celebrate yourself. To get in overview that all of this, though it may suck, revenge and all, is to be celebrated, is to be embraced, because you crossed a finish line and you're already at the beginning of the next thing. We don't see that, right? That's the higher perspective. You know, it's just like GPS. Like, why do we have GPS? GPS, yes, some of them do it from the eye line horizontally, but you know, most of them, like I love my Google Maps, right? It's the eagle-eye view looking down. So that is like the eagle-eye view, saying that this is all about you and celebration, and bitch, you did it. Which you did it. Or now it's like really celebrate yourself in terms of you made it. You made it through this really, really rough period. But now again, we're looking at this in terms of Samhain. Like there is, even though it's not the death card, it is the end of the year. I mean, I know we think of New Year's Eve as the end of the year secular, but really Samhain into Yule. Yule, winter solstice, is the beginning of the solar year. So Samhain is the last spoke in the pagan wheel of the year. 8 spokes in the wheel of the year. The equinoxes and the solstices, we know those, right? The beginning of the seasons, but then it's those cross quarters. Samhain is the last cross quarter. If I'm doing that, I'm trying to do it for the camera, right? So it's sort of like the dark moon of the sun, the dark sun. So here we are with a brand new beginning. Now, if there's an Aries person in your life, my past life sun came back into my life, the last Mercury retrograde. He's an Aries. He's great fun. He's younger. He's a millennial. He's helped me with a lot of this tech stuff, right? He's a techie. He's a genius. He's got and if you're watching this, my sweetheart, you're a genius, even though you have no planets in Virgo. He's got a master's in chemistry. I'm like, I know how to mix a really powerful cocktail because I'm a potion witch. So, you know, maybe someone new is coming in and it is worth celebrating. Or maybe this old situation, this lover's situation, gets a reboot and a restart. But, you know, just be careful with narcissists because you are their supply. They really don't know how to love. Because it's not that they feel like shit, they feel they are shit. And that's what the mask is for. They repress all that down. So vampires, you're a blood bag. I was a blood bag for 20 plus years. It was that on and off, push and pull, but learned some amazing things as I went. Okay, one last card down. Yeah, that's why I put trigger warning in the description box, right? If I see any thumbs down, I'll be like, somebody doesn't know what a trigger warning is. Or it's just not your reading, right? And at this point, if this isn't resonating, this is not your reading. Why are you still watching? Because I'm fun, that's why. So this deck, the Whispers of Love, is for the higher selves of all involved. So I do ask, please, the higher selves of all involved, my higher self included, 5th dimensional and above, please, a whisper of love as a final message for this Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury sign for this Samhain season, and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio for November 2019. What is our whisper of love? Embrace your emotions. No shit, Sherlock. Embrace your emotions. Don't push down your feelings or judge your emotions. Love what rises. I love divination systems. Yeah, I've been doing this since I'm 12 because it's given me the clues that I need. A divination system's never going to tell you point blank what's going on completely and what's going to happen. Once you really start understanding the quantum nature of this world, you get that there are near infinite timelines, right? You can blink your eyes. You can close your eyes in one timeline and open your eyes in another, right? Because it's all vibrational, and we think we can navigate that, but it's not so that we'll be happy. It's so that we learn, we heal, we grow, and fulfill our role in the divine plan. So to embrace our emotions and don't push down feelings or judge your emotions. This is right here. That's what we want, to study them, but not purely from an intellectual place, but to embrace them, to embrace even the revenge, because ultimately you do know on some level that any revenge you take on another has to go through you. It makes you sick. And do remember, you are as sick as your secrets. Never forget that. You don't have to tell the world. You don't have to put it on blast, or you don't have to put it all over social media, but to confess perhaps to a good friend. Counseling, therapy. I'm a spiritual counselor, but that's why people come to me. It's in my energy. They'll feel like, oh, you've been through this shit. You will be able to hear me and what, not judge. So to do that for yourself, to love what rises. Let's do your overview. So we've got this scribe archetype for us Virgos: preserving knowledge and information in the light, altering facts or plagiarizing others' work, in the shadow, even in your own mind, that we can reinterpret it as like, well, that's not what I did, and it's totally what you did, right? So to take that down and maybe take note of it, write it down, really look at the knowledge and the information that you're getting through self-reflection, looking over this past cycle, which is what Samhain is about too. It's the reaping. What wisdom, what have you learned from you went through? And the lead of that is that revenge, but it's not always so much about overt revenge, hurting someone else, as it is hurting yourself to show them, yeah, well, then here's my revenge. I'm never going to speak to you. A lot of ghosting is that But it's not ghosting when it's toxic or neglectful or abusive. That means the contract is dead. That's the easiest way to cancel a soul contract, is abuse and neglect. But a lot of people are beating dead horses. It's just how it is. So with that, the lovers, right? That you have to return this to love. You have to at least love yourself. And in hindsight, perhaps, if this is something that you've already been through, probably is, because it is Samhaintide, Samhain season, to send them love, to bless them, because they're being possessed by a demon, but that demon is their own lack of self-worth. It's their own pain. And what is a narcissist like more than revenge, right? Because they're taking revenge on you, or you are taking revenge on somebody else for a pain that has nothing to do with them, right? So what is it that you want here in your element of fire? You got the Mother of Cups, the Cancer card with study, that you really want to kind of get, well, what's my part in this? How can I heal this? I have to study my emotions. They're telling me something. And if I can divorce it from this vengeful lover's situation, if I can really look at the information, perhaps go over your text messages back and forth, go over your emails back and forth, and really look at where you were deceived and where you bought into it, where there was a hook in there, that there were lies and deceptions. You will see the larger picture, but only so that the emotions can come up for you to embrace them. And what do you have to do that? What's the earth that feeds the fire? It's the Two of Cups, the whirlpool with ideas and inspiration. There's so many thoughts about this. There's so much emotion about this stuff that you really can extract great inspiration and really clear ideas from, and do write them down if you can, in some way that is safe and confidential. At least take note of it, right? Put the puzzle pieces together. Because in the element of air, we've got Shakti, the life dancer, the world with spiritual growth, that your mind has grown spiritually, or at least has the opportunity to, that's what's on the table here. So with ideas and inspiration in earth, with spiritual growth, with the world card, the universe card in the element of air, huge mental healing here, no question, because what happens when you apply fire to water? It creates steam or water vapor air, right? So a completion of a cycle there. Mentally, because emotionally you've got, the Eight of Cups, withdrawal with balance. Now perhaps you will go through a type of withdrawal if you are the narcissist and you are walking away, or someone has walked away from you, but you've got to bring yourself into balance. People don't understand the biochemistry that goes on in romantic sexual relationships, biochemistry that can become addictive. And hence codependency, right? What makes us codependent? What makes it, well, I feel horrible because you're not here. Well, you were feeling horrible anyway. Them not being there is the trigger, right? Trigger warning, but embrace your triggers, right? Because the overall here, we've got this Aries card. It's about you completing this cycle, celebrating that you have lived through it, that even if it seems like small victories, the paradox. The language of heaven is paradox. So these really, really teeny tiny things in the world are actually great, big, huge celebratory causes, right? A cause for celebration. But to celebrate where you are on your path, even if you are the narcissist, to give yourself some of that self-worth, but you have to give it to yourself. You can surround yourself with, champagne and confetti and people just blowing smoke up your ass 24/7, but you have to kind of look at your process, and that you've lived through your own abuse. Because remember, the way to step out of victimization, there's no other way that I know of. Self-esteem, boundaries, right? Estimate yourself as a child of the divine, and just remember, whatever was done to you was done to them. That victims, if they do not heal, become victimizers. Maybe not in the same form, right? But the content, the pain is the same. And so what's the period on this sentence from the higher self? Your higher self is embrace your emotions. Don't push down your feelings or judge your emotions. And there we have it, my Virgo brothers and sisters in the Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury sign collective. This is rough, but that's what these readings are. If you go look at my other readings, if you haven't, they're not all this. They're not all like this. But this was the intention for these, so that we can actually grow. I'm not a very la-di-da person. There's maybe a little fluffy bunny in me. Like, okay, I like Japanese animation. I love Japan anime. I like, you know, Chelsea Handler is my totem animal, if you can't tell. Oh yeah, her degree of Pisces Sun is the same degree as my Pisces Moon. I fucking love her. So yeah, I'm from New York. I'm a New York witch. So, you know, I've got that edge to me, because I'm really all about, what do I need to do, not to get out of this world, but what do I have to do to fulfill my role in the divine plan, right? I got cast to play a role. The truth of who I am, my soul, was cast to play the role of Archangel Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, purple hair at 51, right? Wearing an Oleg Cassini. Hi Oleg. Hello Mark. So I want the fucking Academy Award for this one, so I am going to give it everything I got, particularly celebrate myself now that I am out of something toxic. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, follow along, because there's so much more left to come. If I'm still here on this planet after this past year, I ain't done yet. So you might want to follow along and watch what the witch does next. Cool. May the Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury signs be blessed with all that they need to heal, to grow, to embrace their emotions, and to become the best that they can be, and fulfill their role in the divine plan like the badass witch, angel, master, higher self servants that we are, for the well-being of all. And so it is. So mote it be. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.